Hi guys, Jeremy from Construction Chemicals here. Today, we're going to be showing you how to correctly use one of our products, EPEGROUT Trade. When you mention the word epoxy grout, most people just go running scared. I'm going to dispel a few myths on epoxy grout. This grout is one of the easiest epoxy grouts to use, and there's no need to be afraid of it. EPEGROUT Trade comes in an 8 kilogram kit, which contains 1 litre of part A, 1 litre of part B, and 6 kilograms of dry powder. Simply add the contents of the part A container. Then add the contents of part B. Part A and part B must be slowly mixed together until a consistent colour is achieved. You can now add the powder. So now that we have all three components of the EPEGROUT Trade kit mixed together, you should be left with a nice, consistently coloured mix that's light and fluffy and easily tears away from itself. As you can see, it's ready to go. So now we're going to show you how to install the epoxy grout. Same way you'd install a cementuous grout, except the cleanup's going to be a little bit different. With an ample amount of epoxy grout, we're going to start applying it into the joints diagonally, making sure to apply a correct amount of pressure to seat the product deep down into the tile joint as close to the adhesive bed as possible. So once your joins are filled, we need to try and remove as much of the excess grout as possible using the edge of the float. Because we're using a fine graded sand, it's quite easy to remove the bulk of the product off the tile. Although we recommend it for pools, commercial kitchens, etc., it's actually probably not a bad all-round grout for domestic purposes because of the fine grain. So, as you can see, we've got that in, we're ready to sponge off. We'll be using water to start with, so a damp sponge. It's important to remove as much water as you can from the sponge, working in an S motion. And if you look at that, I mean, that is so simple. Just as easy as a cementuous grout, maybe even easier. Like the cementuous grout, I'd also recommend using microfiber or dry towel. Dampen it up a little bit without smearing it too much. You'll be able to get a little bit of excess off. Although it's easy for me to do this on a glazed tile as such, there may be situations where you have a textured tile or stone where it may retain some of the product. If you miss some of this product, don't stress out too much, because I would recommend leaving it to set almost fully. The use of one of these white Scotch-Brite pads works well. Basically, rub gently in a circular motion. Once the product's set, if you do spot any haze remaining, you can use methylated spirits in a spray bottle. You only need a small mist once the product is set, and I would say within 24 to 48 hours, using this along with the mist of methylated spirits, you'll successfully move all the leftover product. As you can see, my panel of tiles is finished with the EPEGROUT Trade in it. Quite a simple process really, nothing to be scared of. This is such an easy epoxy grout to use. No residue, easy cleanup. Even if you leave a little bit there, there's other solutions like I mentioned, using the Scotch-Brite pad, methylated spirits. You'll get great coverage. It's probably good for around 40 minutes to an hour even in certain climates of open time. So it's not going to just go off on you like that. You have plenty of time to use it. Once again, don't bite off more than you can chew. Make sure you mix an ample amount for the job you can do. I would still recommend doing this in pairs for a large area. So if you had a pool, waterline tiles even, I wouldn't try and knock the whole thing over by yourself on a hot day. I'd have somebody there. As you're applying, they're sponging off. Simple way to do it. If you plan correctly, follow the steps that I showed you, it's just that simple.